Hey, freaks and stoners, this is Super Doobie. Earlier this week, 9 family members, all women and children, were murdered in Mexico by drug cartel members. This tragedy explains why decriminalizing drugs in the United States is a safe and sane policy. All of the victims were dual citizens of Mexico and America, and because of this, the story is making headlines. Tragedies like this are common in Mexico, but mainstream media doesn't report it unless Americans are involved. Now they are. Those killed were 3 women and 6 children, the 2 youngest less than a year old. They were traveling in northern Mexico when gunmen opened fire on their vehicle. It seems like they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Members of one drug cartel thought the family were members of another drug cartel and started shooting at them. President Trump offered to join with Mexican president to go to war with the drug cartels. Wow. We can solve so many problems and benefit society by decriminalizing drugs. We regulate alcohol, we regulate cigarettes, and now in 28 U.S. states, we have decriminalized cannabis at least for medicinal purposes. Look at this chart here. Deaths from opioids annually, that's heroin, cocaine, meth, any kind of chemical stimulant, 70,000 deaths. Deaths from alcohol annually, 88,000 people die every year. Deaths from cigarettes every year, 480,000 people, almost 500,000. I'd like to also throw in there, deaths from marijuana, 0. So obviously, safety is not an issue when it comes to the free market. Why are things as deadly as alcohol and cigarettes readily available today? Tax money! The government will never give that up. Here are the latest sales numbers for cannabis in the U.S. last year. California brought in a whopping $2.75 billion in sales. California's tax rate at the dispensary is 29.5%. So the state is taking in almost a third of $2.75 billion in taxes. Colorado, $1.56 billion in sales. Washington State, $1 billion. So it turns out it is all about the Benjamins, not public good, safety, or your health. Do not ever think your government is that benevolent. It's about taxes, and they are happy to collect it. So the drug cartels would immediately lose most of their money from the United States consumers if we decriminalized all drugs. The U.S. blames Mexico for sending the drugs, and Mexico blames the U.S. for demanding the drugs. Both are right, and this would solve both problems. America could make its own drugs, and Mexico could then deal with their own drug problem internally. The drug cartels fund themselves in many ways, and a huge piece of that is drug money. Take away the drug money from the cartels, and they are weakened and broke. Mexico can now deal with them internally. Drug manufacturers here in the United States could produce high-quality, safe cocaine, heroin, LSD, and whatever the free market wanted. Look at Adderall. That is a consistent, quality-controlled version of meth available by prescription. Decriminalize drugs, and suddenly, jobs are created, people employed, compassionate help being given, money being spent, and tax dollars being collected. Ah, the circle of life. It's important to realize that decriminalizing is not about everyone getting to use drugs. It's a safe and sane money-making solution. There are also people who need and want help. It's to remove the stigma and start someone on the road to recovery. Nobody wants to be a drug addict. Drug overdoses with heroin would drop to near 0 with a safe, clean, consistent product. Why can't someone walk into the doctor's office and say, "Doc, this is what's going on in my life. I need to talk to you about heroin"? The rest is between the doctor and the patient. This would also mean less people in prison. People using decriminalized drugs don't enter the judicial system. People will no longer have their lives disrupted. The state doesn't spend money prosecuting and incarcerating them, and families are not separated. Hey, I hear that's a big deal today. People don't have to go to bad neighborhoods to buy drugs. That market would be threatened too. Why risk your safety buying drugs from strangers when you can see your doctor and get a prescription? Plus, the people who are supplying the street dealers, the drug cartels, are gone now because they were replaced by legitimate drug dealers inside America, the pharmaceutical companies. Another bonus is the U.S. would never have to consider war in Mexico with the drug cartels. No drug cartels influencing government because they can afford a better equipped and motivated army. So many problems solved. No illegal trade, no money, no cartels. So while this event is tragic, and it is an example of what criminalization of drugs has done, remember Prohibition. It didn't work either. There will probably always be cartels, but they can make their money in a way that doesn't involve us. With decriminalization, people get help, life goes on, hassle-free. All I'm saying is give a peaceful solution a try. What do you think? I would love to hear your comments, so leave those below. Take care. Super Doobie, out.